Hey everyone, thanks for hanging back out with us again. Now if you saw our last video on the bait maker trade, we had an awesome response to it, and we thought it was pretty cool. We appreciate everybody, and our very first person to contact us about that was this.
You don't have to be scared. It's all right.
What are you talking about? I'm not scared.
And that scares you because you think there's a good chance I might fail.
Sonny, it's more than a chance. It's a certainty.
So as you can see, since Chris Jones wants something, I'm going to have to give him something good. So I'm really going to have to think about this hard. So what can I make for the bait guru? He's a legend. He's probably seen every color under the sun, so colors aren't going to impress him any. What can I do? Alright, I think I got an idea. So I remember when he reviewed the bait that he's seen on me, he said this.
So beautiful, beautiful stuff there. I really like the way I don't normally put hyper shifts in skin pores. It's just not where my brain goes whenever I'm trying to layer color. But I really like how he was able to pull it off with, you know, that kind of purple to blue hyper shift that we see a lot, like your ZTX, your ZTP. He was able to put that into heads, and it doesn't detract from the bait or it doesn't look out of place. It sort of blends in with the whole theme of this color pattern. And yeah.
So I think Chris has probably seen every color under the sun as long as he's been doing bait making. He's a legend. So I think what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna pour something and we're gonna concentrate more on the skill and the technique of what we're doing. So that's what we're gonna do. Stick around and I'll show you how we do it. Alright, so obviously that was all just for fun. We're gonna get that out of our head as to who we're making it for, and I just want to really show you some techniques. So here we're going to be using the Angling AI 7 1/4 inch swim baits, amazing molds from Angling AI. And our first step is I like to pour the fin by itself, so I'm going to show you how we do that. I'm just going to use some remelt for that since it's just a little bit. This is a new color from alphapigments. Hangman, you can find it there, and we did a video on this, so check that out too. But we're gonna get this in the mic, get this up to temp, and I'll show you how I pour the fins. Now, when the way we're gonna do this, we're gonna layer a lot of colors and stuff. So when you're doing it, temperature control is very important. Not just in the hot plate and the molds, but also the way the temperature of the plastic is being kept at and poured at. So I'd like to show you the technique, but I want you to pay attention on how I use temperature control in this. So right now the molds are on the hot plate, and we just turn it on to a warm setting is all we need for right now to do those fins. We're gonna heat that up and we'll be right back. All right, here we got our beautiful color and our mold. Now sometimes I gotta do this more than once. Well, hopefully we can get it. But what I want to do is start in this thicker part and just let it run down the whole length of the just that fin. Now the molds are on a warm, so that means my plastisol is really hot. It's about probably about 370. Remember, just in the fat part, let it run over, and then just let it run down and fill that whole gap in, just like that. See that? So that's step one. Okay, so you see here, this is where we're at right now. Just the fin has that nice little shade of color in there. Now, it's important when you're building layer upon layer upon layer that your saturation levels, you make sure it's all your saturation levels are really low, real light, and translucent, because they're all going to play off each other. And if the one's too thick, then you're going to see like where one color stops, one color starts. What you want is what I want to try to do is get a gradient color change where you don't see the color change, it just flows from one to the other. So we're going to heat up some more plastic, and we're going to throw a color in the head here. Alright, here's our beautiful color. This is some alphapigments Nero Super Color Shift. Now we're going to pour this just in the head. Can you see how it's got that gill plate right here, the head part? That's all we're going to do. We're just going to pour it in and then dump it back out, so it's a real thin layer. Now this mold is still at the same temp it was for that, just the warm setting. So we're going to pour this hot plastisol in just the head, fill it up, and then dump it back out. So it's a nice thin layer. Just fill it up and then dump it back out. You see that? It just fills that head part up. Okay? So we're gonna just do another one real quick. Dump it in. Just fill it around that head and then dump it back out. Okay, so now you see we got the fin and the head. But now can you see, notice in that head how it's got that little bit of a ripple in there? Well, if we pour it like that, that's from where the plastic starts dripping back down the mold, you know? If we pour it like that, you're gonna see that in the final product. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get the heat gun and we're gonna blast it, so that way this is nice and smooth. The heads are. So let me grab the heat gun real quick. And let me show you how we do that. Alright, so we just did that, and see now it's nice and smooth, so you won't see that ripple. And you see how it's sprayed over? Just pinch it off. So that's all we gotta do is pinch that all off, and then we'll be ready for the next step. Alright, so now we're gonna get the body, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna pour this body across the whole thing. Real nice capsule pour real quick. Now it's important also to say that you can do this with any colors. These are just the colors I'm using. What I want to show you is the technique I'm using, and the with temperature and saturation. Very important when you're doing layer pouring like this. So we got some deadonplastix melons and alphapigments tsunami. We're gonna throw those together, and we're gonna pour up this belly real quick, or heat up this belly real quick, and we'll be right back. Alright, here's our beautiful color, and it's very, very hot. We added some large black flake and medium meteor flake. Now what we're gonna do, we're gonna start in the head and just pour it around the whole body, but not in the tail, and we don't wanna go all the way down to the bottom of the mold. We wanna stop just before we hit the bottom of that mold. This is how we, and I got this to catch the excess. This is how we do it. Just start in the head and just let it flow down, and then dump the excess out. Just like that. Nice thin capsule. Okay. Okay, so now you see we're stopped right before the bottom of the belly. It's not quite to the bottom of that yet. That way the belly will see. And see all this extra overspray? We're just gonna pinch all this off, and we'll be right back after we pinch all these off for the next step. Alright, so now I'm gonna go through and paint lines through these. Now the way I do that is with this from Lureworks. You can get it at ispikeit.com, but it's Lureworks black dotting, the 5828. And then I just put a little bit in a cup, and now I got these little tiny brushes. You can got some extra hairs here. You can find these brushes at Amazon. They're just the brushes that you like clean your razor and stuff with, you know. But you can buy these in bulk at Amazon. But now you see, I'm going to dip it, just the tips. You don't want to overdo it. Just the tip, wipe off the extra, so that way all your bristles are separated, okay? And now we're just gonna, I got them all, the molds facing each other, so that way each side will be parallel to each other. So we're gonna go start on one side and go straight across, and then straight across, and then let's do another one. I like to go right over that fin we poured. Just adds a nice little feature, an extra layer of depth. So that's it. We're gonna paint all these lines in real quick. There, now you see, now both sides, the lines will be parallel with each other. Okay, so now the next step is we're gonna get a belly color. Well, first we're gonna do a little orange in the front here. So I'm gonna show you how we pour it just in the front. So we're gonna close these up, get the hook slots in, get them clamped up together, and then I'm gonna mix up some Dead On Plastic orange, and I'll show you what's up with the how to pour just that front part. And also the hot plate, I'm turning it up to about 220 after I get them clamped together. Okay, so we have the molds clamped up and they're turned up to about 220, and you can see we got this mold under here. So these molds are actually at an angle. So therefore, with gravity, when you pour it, the plastic will stay toward the head more. So we're going to get that orange heated up, and then remember light saturation. We're going to heat that up, and I'm going to pour just a little bit in that front part. All right, we got our Dead On orange. We're going to put just a little bit in the top. You only want a dab, just a drop. That's it. And then another one. And that's it. Try to about equal portions. Now with that mold being inclined like that, that orange will stay right there. Now we're going to heat up the hot plate. We're going to get that up to about 250 degrees, and then we're going to heat up this belly color and pour that belly. Alright, so we're going to use clear Dead On Plastics, and we're going to put just some DiCaprio from alphapigments in there, and that's it. Now that color shift is really awesome, and since we're using it as a belly color behind all the skin color different layers we just poured, it's gonna actually enhance all those other colors, and everything is gonna kind of flow together into a transition of gradient of color. So we're gonna heat this up, and then we're gonna pour those bellies. Alright, here's that beautiful color. Now we're going to pour it nice and slow and right to the top of that hook slot. Nice and slow. No rush. Never try to rush soft plastics. And since the molds are hotter right now, the plastic is actually cooler. as the molds get hotter, I pour my plastic cooler. So this is actually, you see how slow it's pouring? It's probably about 340. Right around there. Almost. Alright. Just like that. Now you remember the capsule we did? That color? We're going to reheat that, and we're going to top off these molds with that color, and we'll be right back. Now while we're waiting for that, we're going to turn the heat up to about 320. And since we have all those, all the flake and that capsule part, we're going to pour the plastic cool, but the molds will be hot. And that'll help suspend the plastic and the flake to keep it inside the bait and not all fall down. So it's almost up to temp, and then we'll pour the top pour over it. Hot molds, the molds are about 350, the plastic is about 320. Alright, now we're just going to top these molds off. I like to start in the head and just run it back. You want to stop right before the top to allow it to fill all the way up without shrinking. And that's how you get the baits that don't have that big concave in them after they cool. A little bit in the head, nice and slow. Don't overdo it. Don't go too fast. Just take it easy. Almost straight to the top. Remember, it's going to shrink a little bit, so you want it right level with the top. Right like that. Alright. Alright, so those are all the colors are in. We're going to give that about 10 minutes left, or 10 minutes more on the burner, and then we're going to turn the hot plate off and just let it cool down naturally. And when it's cool, we'll open it up and see how we did.
That's okay, take your time.
Alright, so we're back, and they're cooled off now. So we're going to check them out and see how we did. And as you can see, since we used the heat, we got a nice flat top. You don't have that concave in there. That's just from cooling too fast. That's what happens when you use proper heat. But we're gonna open these up and see how we did. Alright, here we go. Let's check it out. Hopefully it works. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Look at that. Look at that. You see that? How you can't tell like where one color stops, one color starts. It all kind of has that gradient flow from one to the other. Very awesome. Very cool, man. And I'm assuming we'll open it, but I'm assuming it's the exact same. Very cool. Very cool. Alright. We're going to drop some eyes on these real quick. I got the perfect eyes since it's a bait trade. And then we'll take them outside and get an awesome picture of them out in the natural light.
Relax. I just want to take some pictures.
This is kind of cool. This is our color palette, if you will, of all the colors we just used. All that. We got our customize on there. Alright, let's take these things outside. Alright, here we are outside. Look at that. Very cool. Always better to have your baits outside if you want to see the way they really look. See how the flow of color there? You can't tell where one car stops, one car starts. Very cool. All right. Very, very cool. So there they are. I think they're pretty cool. And despite who they're for, who these ones happen to be for, I just really wanted to show some different techniques and on how to, make more creative open port baits, and just show different ideas, and also show different things like the skin pouring is like when you do the fins and the head, that's skin pouring. And then the capsule pouring is when you pour a significant amount over the length of the body. But overall, I think they're pretty darn cool. And hope Chris likes them. And thanks a lot for doing a bait trade with us. So stay tuned. And as soon as we get some Chris Jones and Bait Guru, as soon as this package comes in, then we'll show you in a bait maker trade episode, and let you guys check out some of World's Worst Fishing custom baits. So stay tuned for that. But as always, we appreciate everyone for watching, and like, subscribe, and share, and all that stuff. And stay tuned. We got lots of cool stuff coming up, man. Hey, we got some cool things on the horizon. So stay with us. Till next time, we appreciate you hanging out.